Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessing, salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing His word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And what I want to get into today, we're dealing with how, there's no new thing under the sun, and what we're seeing in the latter end is, a lot of men, women, all right, are doing what? They're manifesting within their life, and it's important that you discern, all right, spiritually what's going on, Reincarnation is real, all right? And as the scriptures say, I started off in Ecclesiastes 1:9, the thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. And ultimately, these spirits come back into the earth, doing the same thing. They come back in that same energy. That's why the prophet, the spirit of a prophet is subject to a prophet. Because if you was a prophet, if your spirit was created to prophesy, every time you come back on the earth, you're going to stand in your light. It was told Daniel. And on the left-hand side, it's the same way. Wicked men come back. All right, wicked Edomites. These Edomites that's at the top. The same Edomites that we read about in the scripture, they're back today. These wicked, Herod, King Agrippa, all of them back, man. These different top positions, to fulfill their lot. Just like the prophets is here to get a reward, and you have, a lot of people here to be condemned. Now, what I want to go to real quick, make sure we still, all right, because, brothers been bringing out different information, dealing with the ancient Sicarii. I just found something interesting, and I'll put a video at the end as well. Now, when you go into Britannica, all right, Britannica dealing with Sicarii, all right. Now, straight to the point, because you had a lot of things, that Zealot energy was heavy, during the time of Yahweh Shai. You had these guys, that was on the scene, before Yahweh Shai, and they were coming in energy, that Zealot energy, as if, they was going to overthrow the Roman Empire. Now, when you go into dealing with the Sicarii, it says assassination, all right, and became known as Sicarii, because what the daggers that they used to use called Sakah, or Sakah dagger, so they were known as Sicarii. He said they frequented, all right, public places with hidden daggers to strike down persons friendly to Rome. In the first revolt against Rome, the Zealots played a leading role, and at Masada, all right, in 73, they committed suicide rather than surrender. Now, you keep reading. It says, extremists among the Zealots turned to terrorism and assassination and became known as Sicarii daggermen. They frequent public places with hidden daggers to strike down persons friendly to Rome. Now, that was against the doctrine of Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, and that's why you see these people, all right, these guys have this energy that's anti-Messiah, because Yahweh Shai didn't push that message, man. They took matters into their own hand, all right, which was awful according to the scriptures, And this is Matthew 10:16 said, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. And these guys was the opposite of harmless, man. You know, and their decision making caused a lot of Israelites to get put to death, which we're seeing the same thing in play today. These guys' decision making caused a lot of Israelites to get put to death in a horrible way, man. All right, so when you go from there, what do you, how should I say, dealing with, you know, Caesar? Because the main thing that these guys would revolt about, you know, would be taxes. You know, because the Romans were taxing the hell out of Jake. You see, but that's just what it was, man. You see, there was a fourth beast. Jake was trying to fight against the fourth beast. They was really trying to, you know, overthrow prophecy. Now, this is the book of Mark, chapter 12, and verse I start get straight to the point. It said 12 and 17. It says, and Yahushua answered said unto them, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. And this was speaking about paying taxes, man. All right. Well, I started 15 so we get the understanding. Verse 15 says, shall we give or shall we give not? But he, knowing their hypocrisy, said unto them, why tempt ye me? Bring me a penny that I may see it. Because they were asking about paying taxes. And they brought it. And he said unto them, who is the image of the subscription? And they said unto him, Caesar's. And Yahushua answered said unto them, render to Caesar's the things that are Caesar's, and to the Most High the things that are the Most High. And they marveled at him. Yeah, because if your money, if your subscription, just like today, all right, you have Edomite, the world reserve currency is the dollar, and whose subscription on there? Esau Edom. Let you know that he's in power. All right, so the currency at that time was those, you know, those Roman coins, and whose subscription was on there? Those Edomites, those Caesar. So he was like, render Caesar to what Caesar, because pretty much you're in their kingdom. You know, you have to, you know, abide by particular, you know, standards of their kingdom. You know, but when it comes to our spirits, you know, it belongs to Yahweh Shema Shai. Our energy belongs to Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, our faithfulness, you see, our complete obedience, it belongs to Yahweh Shema Shai. So Yahweh Shai didn't push this rise up, you know, this carnal rebellion as these men were pushing. You see, even when you go, all right, from there, what did he tell Peter? When you go to killeth. That was the opposite of the message, because that's not how our salvation is going to come, you know, through the sword of men. Get that in Romans. Mine said, all right, so when you go to I'm gonna say Romans the 12th, so I get it. Romans 12. Yep. This Romans 12 and 19, it said, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. All right, for it's written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. And we see Jake had a complete opposite doctrine, you know, of what the doctrine that was being pushed through Yahushua and eventually through his men, you know. And we see why these guys are so adverse, you know, to the scriptures, man, because they had a completely carnal, you know, mindset when it came, you know, to dealing with the Romans. All right, it says in the first revolt against Rome, the Zealots played a leading role at Masada in 73. They committed suicide rather than surrender in the fortress. All right, so let's get Masada. All right, which when you go into the Masada, now Masada in the Hebrew, all right, which means ruins of Masada. It says an ancient mountaintop fortress in the southeastern Israel, site of the Jews' last stand against the Romans after the fall of Jerusalem in 70 CE. It was designated, all right, in 2001, and it said Masada occupies the entire top of an isolated mesa near the southwest coast of the Dead Sea. The rhubarb-shaped mountain towers 1,424 feet above the level of the Dead Sea. It has a summit area over the 18 acres. So it was a pretty big mountain, and it was a fortress on top. And Herod, he had a temple there. And what happened, some jakes, broke into the fortress and stole the weaponry, and they was able to kind of hold down Masada, after 70 AD for a few years, because it was a hard place, to try to, to conquer, because of its position and the way it was designed, to withstand the siege, which the video explain more. Now, this is the main point I wanted to get. It says, all right, it says, the Zealots, however, preferred death to enslavement. It says, and the conquerors found that the defenders, all right, the Romans found the Sicarii, led by Eleazar ben Jar, had taken their own lives. Only 2 women and 5 children who had hidden in the water canoe survived to tell the tale. And see, what people don't understand, the Sicarii had women and children fighting against the Roman military. Like they would, if you didn't fight, whether you was a man, woman, or child, they would put you to death, man. These guys were horrible leaders, man. Horrible leaders, man. And it's the same thing back today. Horrible leaders. What you got Jake doing? Spraying graffiti on the wall, man. Horrible leadership, man. But you see, his name was Eleazar, all right? Which, when you go into the Hebrew, because the leader of Sicarii, what is his name? They call him Alazar, which that comes from the Hebrew. Now, when you understand the priesthood, all right, Aaron, he deal with Aaron and his sons, all right? Exodus 6:23, it says, and Aaron took him Elisheba, daughter of Amminadab, sister of Nahshon, to wife, and she bare him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Now, if you understand the history of this of the sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu got put to death, all right, for being willful. Now, Eleazar and Ithamar, that's where your priests come from, and Eleazar, that's where your line of high priest came from. Now when you get that name, Eleazar, all right, it's Allah Azar, all right. That's why you hear brothers call him Al-Azar, all right. His name means Most High has help. Now, remember, you had 2 wicked sons of Aaron, all right, that wanted to do their own thing, wanted to be willful, But then, Jacob put these names on themselves. But ultimately, hey, I'm not saying that, this is him coming back. This guy, Eleazar ben Jar, I'm not saying that this is proof, but hey, it's in the spirit, man. Everything play out in the spirit. But, yeah, that's why, he has the name Al-Azar, all right, which means the Most High help. But see, at the end of the day, these guys are not going to receive help from On High, because Yahweh Shema Shai does not push a carnal doctrine, all right, as these guys push, man. It's going to be through a great deliverance, all right, that's going to get us out of here, man. And he's going to help his elect. All right, so going back into it, coming back with that scripture I was looking for. When you go into Matthew 26, all right, and 48, and I read into the account. Now, this is Matthew 26 and 48. It says, now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whosoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast. And we have to remember, this is Judas, Iscariot, which when you go into the, the history of Judas Iscariot, he was from the background, of the Zealots, And it says, and forthwith he came to Yahushua, and he said, hail, master, and kissed him. And Yahushua said unto him, friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which was with Yahushua, so he was with Yahushua, stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Yahushua to him, put up again thy sword into thy place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. You see? So Yahushua was not, on any type of carnality when it came, dealing with, the opposition, the Romans at that time, the Edomites, which were Romans at the time. He wasn't on it. It wasn't that time, and it wasn't going to be in the fashion, all right, of carnality that he was going to conquer, all right, the earth in righteousness, man. You see? And then what did he say? All right. What did he say? He said, verse 20, verse 53 said, thinkest that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels, man. 12 legions of angels of chariots, man. Although there's tens of thousands of chariots on command. You see, but he knew it wasn't time. And in the Roman Empire, they couldn't do nothing with a piece of a chariot. How much more legions, man? All right? So, Sicarii, when you go to the ancient Sicarii, they live by the sword. And how did they die? By their own sword. You see? They had to commit suicide, once the Romans finally, was able to breach, Masada. All right? And it's going to be the same thing today, and it's going to be in a horrific fashion, man. Them guys going to die some embarrassing deaths if they continue on that path, man. But someone has to play that lot. But let's go into the spirit, man. How will we overcome? When you go to Psalms 44, all right, and on 4, it says, thou art my king, O power, command deliverances for Jacob. Through thee will we push down our enemies, through thy name will we tread them under feet that rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies and hast put them to shame that hated us, man. So our help is going to come from on high. A standard is going to be lifted against these guys, man. Against Esau, Edom. No carnality will overcome, all right, this system. It's going to be through divine intervention. And see, the captain of our salvation is Yahushua. And it says, in the Most High we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. Salah. All right. So let's go from there to the book of Hosea. What does it say in Hosea? This is the book of Hosea, chapter 1, verse 7. It said, but I will have mercy upon the house of Judah and will save them. All right. By the Lord, save them. By the Lord Yahweh, by Shem Shai, their power, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. You see, it's going to be directly, divine intervention from on high that's going to get us out this situation, man. Yahushua came with a whole nother message, man, that was far above a carnal takedown of the Roman Empire, man. And we see why, these men, are really anti-Messiah, because Yahushua had a completely different doctrine, than the ancient Sicarii, man. He was pushing a completely different energy from ancient Sicarii. Now let's go to what's that, Zechariah? I want to say the 4th chapter. All right. This is Zechariah 4 and 5. Now this is dealing with Zerubbabel, all right, whom we know, in the spirit, to be King David, because Zerubbabel was of that line of David, and also that line Yahushua would eventually come out of, Zerubbabel, all right. And it says, this is Zechariah 4 and 5. It said, then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, and he's speaking to Zerubbabel, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai to Zerubbabel, saying, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai host, man. So we understand that the overthrow of this society is going to come through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Shai, nothing of ourselves, man. Nothing of ourselves, nothing of the flesh, nothing of this world, man. It's going to be a power, all right? It's going to be a way that this earth has never seen, all right? Well, Yahweh Shai is coming back. Yahweh Shai has all power given to him by the Father, man, and he's coming back to utilize that to deliver the elect, man. You see? And we're going to get portion of that power when the standard is lifting. You know, Lord will with those men, you know? So that's really pretty much all I want to get into. Just want to, you know, bring that out, prove that point. You know, Lord will, I'll probably go into some more history dealing with all the different sects, you know, that was going on during the time of Yahushua and leading up to Yahushua, man. You know, this is nothing new. It's just playing out again. All right, so this time, this the final scene, you know, before Yahushua comes and conquers, man. You know, so Lord will, you brothers and you sisters, will edify till the next time I say shalom.
Welcome to Its History. Today I'll tell you the story of Masada. This extraordinary stronghold was the last bastion of the Zealots, who in the clash with the Roman legions preferred to perish by their own hand than to end their lives as slaves. But in order to fully understand their sacrifice, first we must find out a bit more about the Jewish war from the year 66 AD. It was a Jewish uprising which broke out against the Roman occupation, which we know from the Old Testament. The war started in Caesarea and quickly spread all over Judea. The insurgent units managed quite well in the beginning. They even managed to defeat the Roman Legion 12. All in all, however, the aftermath of the uprising turned out to be tragic. The famous temple in Jerusalem was destroyed, and the historians count the casualties in tens and even hundreds of thousands. The Zealots were one of the insurgent splinter groups completely devoted to the cause, hating both the Romans and their collaborators. Soldiers who considered surrendering equal to renouncing God. However, in spite of their great devotion, they were far from pious. The Sicarii, as one fraction was called, was also known as the dagger wielders, and was characterized by exceptional viciousness. In order to sustain their control of the stronghold and to get food, they would plunder villages like in Gadi, for instance, where 700 inhabitants fell victim to their swords. Possibly many Jews among them. The Zealots made it to Masada in the year 66, but the keep had been built 100 years earlier on the orders of Herod the Great. Situated in the mountains, exceptionally hard to conquer, the keep was additionally surrounded by a wall and equipped with water tanks and huge granaries. The self-sufficient Masada could effortlessly withstand long months of siege, something the Romans were soon about to find out. After the fall of Jerusalem, many refugees joined the Sicarii, hiding in the mountain keep, and this was one of the last 3 places resisting the Romans. In the year 72, Flavius Silva, the governor of Judea, marched for Masada. Against 960 defenders, he sent the Legion 10, supported by war captives, altogether about 15,000 men, among them 9,000 soldiers. Masada's natural fortifications and the narrow path, leading a couple of hundred meters to the top of the mountain, made the attack impossible. With the help of rocks cast down from the top, the Zealots decimated the legionaries. There was no possibility for the defenders to surrender out of hunger either. As the Romans could not find any safe passage to the citadel, they decided to build it themselves. For months they would erect a gigantic ramp which they used to move siege machines forward. With the laying of every stone, the terrain started assuming the shape favorable for the Romans. More or less during the 3rd month of the siege, they managed to breach the wall on the mountain's summit. The Zealots quickly covered the opening with a wooden barricade. At that time, however, it was clear that the end was near. The commander of the Sicarii, Elazar ben Yair, did not want to die as a slave. He knew what awaited the defenders of the keep: death, slavery, and disgrace. On the last night, he gathered the defenders of Masada and spoke. "Long ago, valiant men, we made a decision that we would neither serve the Romans nor anyone else but God himself. For he and he only is the true and just ruler of men. And now the time has come that demands the confirmation of this conviction with deeds. May we not cover ourselves with shame during this time of trial. Before, we did not want to carry the shackles of slavery when it did not even mean danger. So would we now voluntarily consent not only to slavery, but severe revenge should we fall to the hands of the Romans alive? After all, it was us first who stood against them in battle, and now are the last to continue the struggle. I also believe that God gave us this favor to die a beautiful death as free people, which was not given to others forced to succumb against their hope. Although we know with all certainty that the keep shall fall when the day dawns, we still can choose a noble death for us and our loved ones." When on the next day the bloodthirsty Romans burnt down the barricade and stormed into the keep, they found empty walls. the 960 defenders of Masada had committed mass suicide, or rather killed one another, since in order to avoid the sin of taking one's own life, every man killed his wife and children first, and then his comrades by method of random draw. The only miraculous survivors were 2 women with 5 children who had hidden in a duct. Until this day, the defenders of Masada are the symbol of valor and patriotism, and Jewish soldiers swear that Masada will never fall for the second time.